Hi,
Good
Lily.
morning.
Good morning. It's so nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. How are you?
I'm well.
Good.
How are you?
I'm okay. It's still dark here, so it's a little dark. Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. The chipmunks get up early, so.
Do the chipmunks wake you up?
My chipmunks.
Oh,
yes.
oh, I thought you meant actual chipmunks. Yeah, they.
All
My
that
chipmunks woke me
energy.
up this morning too. My big chipmunk and my little chipmunk.
Nice.
What time is it there?
Oh, it's only 8. Which isn't that late, but the sun comes up so late here. It doesn't come up till like 8:15, and because I live in the hills, it's actually even a little later, so it's kind of a slow process. Sunrise is very slow, but that's fine. It's fine. It's good
Must
to
be
get
nice.
Well, it's funny, that your body gets tricked into thinking, oh no, I should stay in bed. It's still dark out. And then you think, oh, wait a minute. I got to get up. I got to do stuff. Anyway.
My mom gave me the best Christmas gift. It's a silk eye mask. So you tested the challenge for me, the 5 days to calmer, kinder parenting.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you a couple questions, but I thought we could do a little grounding first because I'm feeling a little ungrounded these last few days. This last year, really. And so, and I was just listening to something that my yoga teaching mentor said this morning, but I think it relates to parenting and just being a person so well. When we're in survival mode, we aren't in a good position to help others. I mean, that's pretty basic, right? But just when she said it, I was like, oh yeah, ding. So survival mode has been the mode, and for some of us, it's not just this year, right? And then trying to parent on top of that, and then trying to parent someone who may be neurologically different from you, or who just requires more of a mindful way of parenting, more of a different, a paradigm shift in parenting. If we're in that fight or flight, in that survival mode, what is that? What is that like? I got woken up this morning, and please stop me if I keep going on and on. I want it to be a dialogue, not a monologue. But I got woken up this morning to Ocean can't get into his OT Zoom meeting. What do I do? I have the magic answers when I get, woken up out of a sound. So he has a very early Zoom meeting on Fridays, every Friday. And as you know, I stay up late sometimes to get work done because that's the only time I have to myself around here. So, I explained once again, like when I get woken up out of a sound sleep and that is the time, like the Zoom meeting has already started and it's already panic mode, I can't solve a problem. And then I go out and I ask Ocean, like, how did you get into your Zoom meeting yesterday? The same OT. Oh, I checked my Gmail. Okay, can you do that now? Oh, yeah. Like, why was I woken up out of a sound sleep?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I'm at. So yeah, grounding. Will you do it with me?
Sure.
All right. So let's first just notice where we're sitting, like our seat, and maybe feet on the floor. I have my feet rolling on balls, but I'm going to put them down on the floor. And then just notice the heaviness of the parts of your body that are being pulled by gravity towards the earth. And I love how you just took a sweet breath there. So let's take a sweet breath in Yeah, and you even brought your shoulders up and then let them down as you breathe out, and you're moving. So Megan really knows her body and her way to ground. So you can follow Megan. um, you rocking your pelvis a little bit can also be very grounding, and it can be a way to stimulate our vagus nerve, which is the part of our nervous system that helps us return to a just right state so that we can be helpful to others. All right. So I'd invite you to look away from the screen and look around and just find something in your space that makes you feel calmer or loving or grounded. And then listen to any sounds you hear and simply normalize the sounds. Like I'm hearing a Zoom meeting in the other room. I can hear that while I'm also talking to you. But by not judging it, it makes it easier to be less distracted by it. So then noticing your skin and any sensations on your skin at all. And again, we're not picking out the places that are necessarily itchy or uncomfortable, but just being aware. And then anything that you can smell or taste. And I'm going to try to move my breath a little lower because I'm feeling like it's in my chest, which isn't bad. But I like to have access to the full range of breath that's available. So taking it from chest, seeing if I can expand my belly and my lower back and my waist. And then letting it out a little slower with a sound. All right. So I feel like every time I go live, I should do that first. Because when we're feeling anxious or stressed, we're not in a very good position to be present with others. How are you doing?
Better. I didn't even know I needed that, but I did.
Yeah. I knew I needed it this morning.
Well, I love that it's just, it doesn't have to be super complicated. It doesn't have to be a whole hour of yoga. It can just be a couple minutes of focus and then.
Yeah. Or even less. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I have to be doing other things. And while I'm doing other things, I'll wiggle my toes. Like my friend Alice one time was like, yeah, if I'm starting to get frustrated with my son while he's doing his homework, I just sit there and wiggle my toes and it helps me feel more grounded. And I just love that. There are so many things we can do that don't take a bubble bath, but they don't take extra time. Right?
Yeah. Well, it's I think as parents of atypical or differently wired kids, we spend a lot of time focusing on helping our kids have coping mechanisms, but we need them too. Because your quote that you read earlier really hits home. And I feel like there's been some fun discoveries with online school or hybrid school where they have excelled in different ways, but there's other places that are much more challenging. And I found myself having to offer them a lot more support. I'm kind of a para during the day. They can't really do the whole day on their own. They need a lot of support, and that doesn't leave a lot of time for me to take care of myself. So, so finding those little ways to cope and stay out of fight or flight, because that is definitely where I lose my cool, is when I'm already pushed to that limit, and then, you know, I can't, just like them, you know, they get pushed to that. They can't back out of that easily. So to catch myself before I go over the cliff helps everyone, right?
So much. And, you know, they talk about with little kids co-regulation, right? With babies, and how, you know, when we're regulated, they mirror us. That doesn't stop, right? Especially with our kids, like they still, I mean, most of them, I think, probably still need a little help regulating. And if you're at a position where your kid is on, you know, they're on their own, they figured it out, and they're self-regulating, come and give us some tips. No, I mean, I have to say, Ocean, now that he's 10, like sometimes he is the voice of reason in our family. And I'm just like, oh my God, you know, I kind of hear myself reflected back, but then also I'm like, where'd you learn this? This is so great, you know? So he's picking up something from somewhere that is taking him closer to self-regulation.
Yeah. I see that too, where, you know, I can see sometimes they can express, oh, I need a movement break. I need to go outside. I need to do this or that. And other times, you know, especially during the at-home school day, that's a different beast.
Oh, yeah. I know that, Megan, one of your superpowers is scheduling in the self-care time. I don't know if you've been doing that since all your changes and upheaval, but that was something that really impressed me with you, is that you said, I actually put it in my schedule.
I do. And I don't always stick to it, but at least it's there, and I know it's there, and it really helps me to remember to care for myself. Actually, I was doing really well until we got to the break, and then the break kind of, I think with the holiday energy and stuff, I got a little off track, but back on it, getting back on it, you know, because that's what you do. You get back on it.
Supposed to. Yeah. I think it's healthy, don't you, to take a break from the routine, even any routines, even the ones that are helpful to us. Yeah. And know that we can jump back in anytime.
I think there's always this pressure around New Year's to you have to start now, and it's kind of now or never, and that's actually never true. It can be, it's totally arbitrary. It can be any time. You can start right now, you can start tomorrow, you can start next week, you can start today, forget tomorrow, start again the next day. Like, it's every day's a new day. So
absolutely,
it takes the pressure off, you know.
Yeah.
We don't have to be perfect in that. We can just,
oh my God, the last thing we need is more pressure, right?
Yeah. I know. And especially from ourselves, which, you know,
I don't know
we're
about
all good
you,
at that.
I'm the hardest on myself. So let me ask you this. You did the 5 days. Was there one that stood out to you in any way?
There were two, actually.
Okay.
Sure. The two that stood out to me were the Trust Mudra, which is a physical, you know, practice where, and for me, that's just sort of, it's an easy thing to remember to do, and maybe something I kind of already do naturally with my hands, but to sort of bring it back in, like, okay, all right, I'm here in my body, I can do this. I think that's a really nice one. The other one I really, really loved was the Cherished Memory. which basically reminded me of a happy place that I can go when I'm feeling low or overwhelmed. And that wasn't like a very unexpected little gift. Brings a lot of joy, because I over the last few days since I finished the challenge, I have thought of it a few times. And it's been great.
That is so great.
Mm-hmm.
So the more often we return to that cherished memory and drink in or allow our nervous systems to kind of be bathed in those soothing, relaxed, calm, and beloved feelings, the more neural pathways we develop, we build to receive those feelings more often, even when we're not using that cherished memory. So mine, I mean, I do switch it up. You don't have to stick with the same one, but if it's working, I like to stick with the same one. So for me, I use the feeling of Ocean's hand in mine. And especially when we used to walk to school, and the way he would reach out and hold my hand and just the warmth of his hand. That visceral feeling is easy to reproduce in my sense memory.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so simple, right? But it really shifts something in my nervous system. Yeah. So this, when I'm feeling, and I don't know if you can see with I feel like I should tilt down a little bit so that people can see on the video. This is day 2, I think. But you can try it now, right? There's no secrets here, right? These are things that have been passed down to me from teachers, from the wisdom lineage of yoga and meditation. So they're not secret, and of course, they're free to everyone. But this hand position, which in Sanskrit it's mudra, but it translates more as like gesture. So it's a gesture of unshakable trust in our own inner capacity, right? Not something outside of ourselves. And that doesn't mean that we have to have all the answers, that when we're woken up out of a sound sleep, we can solve a problem and we have to. Deep down, we do have the wisdom and the answers. And if you have a question about what's going on with your kid or your family or yourself, you probably already know. But it's that ability to get quiet enough and check in, like you said, ground into your body and maybe your heart. That can give us a reminder, right? To when we get still, that quiet voice of wisdom can come through. Well, thank you for that. I'm wondering if you have any questions for me, Megan.
I don't have any questions at the moment, but I did want to say that I really appreciated how short and simple the exercises were, because at first I was kind of like, oh, can I commit to doing this?
What is she asking of me?
Right? Okay, she says it's only 5 minutes. Is it really 5 minutes? Because, is it like when you call a car and they're like 5 minutes and 20 minutes later, there's still no car?
Like an Uber.
Yeah. but they were actually that straightforward. And I will also say that sometimes I get a little intimidated about journaling. I don't know, that's my own hang up. So when I got to that part of the day, which is the last part, I was kind of like, oh boy, journaling, I don't know, I might bail. But they were so, I mean, you could expand on those questions if you really wanted to, but you could also just keep it very simple and then kind of maybe go back to it and think about it later as you move through your day. But that was also very nice that it didn't have to be super complicated. It didn't have to be digging really deep. It could just be, let's not think about this too long. Let's just try it and then take it with me and see where that goes. So I liked that a lot.
Yeah. And that, I mean, we don't know the effect something like one question of self-inquiry is having on our subconscious. So we don't necessarily have to dig deep, right?
Yeah.
So the first question, I think you just answered with a name, right? Like
Yes.
The first day, just like who holds you, right? I'm not sure exactly how it's phrased, but that's basically the question. Like, you hold all of this in your life. Who, it doesn't have to be human, right? It could be a beloved pet, right? Who just looks at you with those eyes of complete trust and love. For some people, it might be more of a archetype or even a spiritual figure. For me, I feel like the closer they are to my reality, the more helpful it is, right? So if it's someone I literally know and who holds me, that works best for me. But it's just one question, right? And then one affirmation, which is just a couple words. So I'm curious, and I don't really think like you have to do it in the morning and then it sort of plants that seed throughout the day. But I think if you're doing it at night, just do it every day. Probably better than saving them up and doing it and like skipping a day and then, but literally less than 5 minutes to do the whole thing. And if you open that email and just do it right then.
I found myself kind of looking for them in my inbox, and I'm sure many people have inboxes like mine, which are never ending at times. But I found myself, there's today's practice. Let's see what that's going to be today, and kind of going right to it. So, so I thought it was very easy, and I started to look forward to it.
I'm so glad. That's wonderful.
Hang in there. We can do this. Woo! We made it through last year. We can make it through this. So, and community is really important. So it's up to us to keep reaching out to each other for help and strength and understanding.
Absolutely. That just made me think of, because the last couple of days have been a little stressful and crazy, I found, and not that they aren't stressful and crazy the rest of the time, especially for some people in the world, parenting pathfinders, and totally look it up. And if you're on Instagram, I haven't found her on Facebook, but I'm going to post, if I haven't done it yet, I'm going to post her latest post, is little video, and it's giving very practical, straightforward, and clear advice on how to talk to your kids about current events. And she just doesn't sugarcoat, but it's age appropriate. And I found out about her through an organization called Roots Connected, which does these great workshops, both for educators and parents. So anyway, I'll put all the links to all that in the comments. And I just wanted to mention that. So if you're looking for a resource for talking with your kids about current events or about race and racism, it's a great resource. So Parenting Pathfinders, she was a moderator in one of the workshops I took through Roots Connected. These are the things we really need to share. I don't put myself out there as a parenting expert. I'm a parent. You can figure out your own parenting style, right? When your nervous system is more balanced. But I do have those I lean on, and I'll continue sharing lots and lots of supports like that in the group. So, all right.
I thought of one question.
Please, yes. Great.
You should, or maybe it's a comment. Maybe you should consider making like a whole month of the 5-day at some point, like a calendar.
Could be interesting. I would love that.
You know, like
that could I could totally do that.
That could be a really fun way to, you know, you see all these like 30-day push-up challenge. Yeah, right.
365-day calendar of 5 minutes a day. Right. I could fill that. I could totally fill that. I've got so many ideas.
I think you're onto something then.
All right. Well, maybe we'll start with 5 and see how people like that. And I'd love to get feedback when you finished up the challenge. Those of you who are in the challenge, if you're not in the challenge, here I'm going to make sure before we end that I put up this banner. And this is the link. And I'll also, of course, put it in the comments. So easy for you to join the challenge. All right. Can't wait to start on Monday.
It's really fun. Do it. Do it.
All right. Thank you so much for getting up early with your chipmunks.
All right. Good to see you, Kate.
Thank you so much again.
You're welcome.